St. Nicholas, we are so happy to have you here today.
Well, Nancy, I am so happy to be here.
So this morning, I was so excited. I even put on my St. Nicholas socks just for you.
I like them. I like them.
Yeah, I thought you'd be impressed.
I traveled a long way from Myra, which is on the Mediterranean Sea, and which is near where St. Paul himself walked, spreading the word about Jesus so long ago. But I'm happy to be here with you and with the people of Advent. I'm sorry that we can't all gather together because of the pandemic, but I know that wearing masks and keeping our distance as we're doing today is a way for us to care for each other and to show God's love for each other.
Mm-hmm. And one of our most important things is to hold on to our traditions. So we may not be able to do those traditions exactly the way we've done them in the past, but with a little creativity, we can think of a new way to do it. And so I'm so glad that you could be here today.
I'm glad. I do remember my past visits here, which were a lot of fun.
Yep.
But I'm so happy to be here again.
Yes, and hopefully kids at home, you'll be able to have a special snack when we're finished. And think about the cocoa and the marshmallows and the oranges and the candy that we have had in years past and will have in the future. So, thank you for being here. And tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, I was born and lived many, many years ago on the coast of the Mediterranean Sea in what's now Turkey. And as a child, I learned about Jesus, and I became a follower of Jesus. And as I learned more about his teachings and how he taught us to live, I learned that one of the really important things that he taught us was to be kind to other people and to support them and to take care of them, and sometimes that meant to give gifts to them. And so as I learned that Jesus had taught us to do that, I decided to devote my life to trying to follow his example, to do that as well.
So we just saw the Godly Play video, and it told us the story of your ministry. Can you tell us more about why you gave gifts and helped people?
Well, as I said, I being a follower of Jesus, I learned by his example of caring for other people. And so it turns out that although I was an orphan, I inherited quite a lot of money from my parents. And so following the teachings of Jesus, I decided that I should give away all that I had gotten in order to help other people. So it was a little hard to do at first, but it became a wonderful experience.
So there's a saying from Saint Teresa that we can be the hands and the feet of Jesus, and that's kind of what you do when you're helping people, is to be the hands and the feet of Jesus on this earth.
Well, and that's what I thought about as I was giving gifts and helping to care for other people.
So why did you put the gifts in through the window or leave them in the door instead of just handing them to the children?
Well, as Jesus taught us by his example that we should take care of others and give them gifts when they needed help. But he didn't say that we should do that in order for people to like us or for people to think that we were special. He taught us to do it because we loved him and because we loved God. And so I followed that example of his. I also learned that in the Gospels, there are stories that when Jesus healed people, that he told his disciples not to tell anyone about it. He tried to keep it secret. And the idea was that we should be making the gifts, doing the deeds for the sake of other people and not really for our own sake. So I decided to try to follow that example as I gave gifts in my life. So that's why I would sneak around at night and toss gold coins through the window instead of just walking up and knocking on the door.
Okay. So after you died, the gifts kept coming to people. And so how did that work?
Well, it's something of a mystery, but as we know, with God, all things are possible. But I also think maybe that other people also followed Jesus' example, and possibly, if they had heard about what I had done, might have followed my example as well. And so, again, to show God's love for us and to follow Jesus' teaching on helping other people, then they also began to give gifts, and they didn't take credit for it. And so sometimes I think I might have gotten credit for some gifts that other people had given.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they're just taking your example and taking it upon themselves. I've heard a lot about random acts of kindness, and it kind of sounds like you were the forerunner of those random acts of kindness.
I've heard about that as well, and I'm pleased if people had followed my example, but really it's not my example, it's the example that Jesus taught us about caring for others.
Mm-hmm. A way to share God's love. So I hope that you children out there will think about some of the random acts of kindness, the gifts that some people have given you. Gifts, the very best gifts that we receive are not always wrapped up in packages with ribbons and bows and wrapping paper. Sometimes those gifts are just unwrappable. I'll tell you something, St. Nicholas. Yesterday was my birthday. And the very best present that I got was a Zoom call from all of my children and grandchildren on the phone. Now, that couldn't be wrapped up, but just to hear their voices and to see their faces and to have them share pictures that they've been drawing, it was an incredible gift. It was really special to me.
It sounds just wonderful. Mm-hmm. It sounds wonderful.
Yep. So why do you think this gift giving became a tradition at Christmas?
Well, Jesus was God's greatest gift to us. And at Christmas time and Advent, in the season as we come up to Christmas, we remember that gift. We remember the birth of Jesus. And so I think it's natural for us then, as we've been given such a wonderful gift, to think about ways that we can make gifts to other people. So I think that giving gifts to others, and it's not just gifts to our friends and family, people that are close to us, but other people that we don't know who might be in need, that we can give to them as well. And it's a way of it's a way of remembering and being inspired by God's gift of Jesus to us, and a way of carrying that forward in our lives. Mm-hmm. So that was the gift of Jesus and his teaching of us to how to live our lives is really such a wonderful gift. So, and I think it's also important, although we like to give gifts around Advent and Christmas, that we can do this all year. There are people that we don't know, people that we do know that need They may have physical needs. They may simply need us to reach out and talk to them or comfort them. And so that's something that we can do all year while we remember Christmas.
A couple weeks ago in the parking lot, we had a whole bunch of kids who helped with a Giving Back Day. And what we did was collect food for the local food pantry for those people who are hungry. We collected pet supplies for the animals that are at La Mancha. And we collected diapers for some moms who have a difficult time affording paper diapers for their children. And we collected clothing for some people who don't have a lot of money to buy clothes. And so we had those collection points all set up in the parking lot, and a lot of our kids, some of our youth and children, were out there helping unload cars and load up trucks with those kinds of gifts. So that was a special event. And then in February, we have a Super Bowl day where we collect money and food for the food cupboard. So that's something for all of you to look forward to on is it the first or second Sunday in February when the Super Bowl is? Whenever. I'm not a big football fan, as you all know, but whenever the Super Bowl is, that's when we have our canned Super Bowl. So.
Well, I think it's so interesting that although it's been almost 2,000 years since I first walked on the earth, it's 2,000 years since I was only a few hundred years after Jesus walked on the earth, that the same needs are present in this era as were back then. And one of the things that Christians became known for, and one of the reasons I think that the followers of Jesus spread throughout the whole world, was that people recognized that kindness and generosity and love for other people. And that's something that hasn't changed for thousands of years.
Well, thank you so much for being here, St. Nicholas. It was so good to have this time with you. As we talked about, most of my favorite gifts don't come wrapped up or in boxes. They're phone calls from friends or videos from my grandchildren. My granddaughter colored me a picture. Your visit today was a very special gift to all of us, and we appreciate it so much. So thank you for being here.
Well, thank you for having me. It's always such a pleasure to visit here every year.
Great.
So.
All right. Thank you.
So I think I need to move on. I have a lot of other places
Okay.
to go visit.
Well, thank you again for being here.
Okay.
And thank you for tuning in to our special about St. Nicholas, for being able to see St. Nicholas and listen to him talk and share his stories. It was a wonderful time. Oh my goodness. He's left me some presents. Oranges and peanut butter cups. Awesome. Thank you. Have a good day.
welcome to Godly Play at Church of the Advent. My name is Miss Celia, and Miss Kim and I are going to tell you the story of Saint Nicholas, Bishop of Myra. Let's get ready.
This is the story of Saint Nicholas. The church remembers him during Advent, the time for getting ready to come close to the mystery of Christmas. I wonder why we remember Nicholas. About 300 years after Jesus died, there was once a little boy whose mother and father died when he was only a child. He always wanted to give a present to the Christ child, but the Christ child lived long before little Nicholas was born. Still, Nicholas wondered if the Christ child was living in every child. Nicholas became a priest. People knew he was a holy person, so they made him their bishop. The place where he was a bishop was in Myra, a city in the south of a country we now call Turkey. Nicholas was shy. When he began to give gifts to children on Christmas Eve, he did it in secret, so no one would know. Sometimes the gifts came down the chimney. Sometimes they were left by the door. Sometimes they were dropped in through an open window. Nicholas would tiptoe away in the night, leaving the delight of the gift to be enjoyed in the morning. When Nicholas grew older, it was hard for him to give gifts on Christmas Eve, and even to give the people the holy bread and wine in church. The people carried him to church so that he could keep sharing the holy bread and wine with them. When Nicholas died, something amazing happened. The gifts which people had found in their homes on Christmas Day continued to appear. One day, the Emperor of Russia heard this story. He decided to make Nicholas the patron saint of Russia. Far in the north of Russia, where there was nothing but snow, gifts continued to appear. The story traveled westward into Finland and Sweden and Norway, where the reindeer live. The story continued to spread and came to Holland. When Dutch people came to this country, they brought the story with them. Presents began to appear here too, and they still do till this day. This all began with the gifts of the poor Bishop of Myra for the children of his town, because he saw the Christ child in every child. We remember Nicholas because he gave gifts for God. I wonder what parts of the Nicholas story you like the best. I wonder what part of the story is most important. I wonder what part of the story is about you, or where you might be in the story. I wonder if we could leave any part of the story out and still have all the story we need. Now it is time to get out our work. Get out paper, crayons, markers, or any art supplies and create something about this story. Thank you for joining us.